Welcome, beautiful Sigma ladies. Every Sigma female is born with two passports, one for the world everyone sees, and one for the world no one is invited into. That's not poetic exaggeration, it's psychological fact. Studies on human behavior reveal that the average person wears at least 3 different social masks a day. But Sigma females, they take it further. They don't just wear masks. They live entirely separate lives, one that looks acceptable to society, and another that operates in shadows, where their true power hides. It's the reason people can know her for years, yet only realize they've met her public version. The private one? That's locked in a vault, shared with maybe 1 or 2 souls, if anyone at all. And while everyone else is busy posting their every latte and breakup on Instagram, the Sigma female can be at brunch laughing with friends while simultaneously plotting the next life-shifting decision no one will see coming. It's not double life in the scandalous spy movie sense. It's subtler, sharper, and a little bit funnier. Because if you have ever wondered why she can talk about the weather while secretly dissecting your entire character in her head, it's because she's running 2 worlds at once. And trust me, both of them are real. Number 1. They're both hunters and protectors. They're both hunters and protectors. And this is where the Sigma female's paradox becomes impossible to ignore. On one hand, she moves through life with the instincts of a hunter. She searches for clarity in situations where others are content with confusion. She notices patterns, catches lies, and picks up on details that slip past most people. She's not hunting for trophies or attention, but for truth, for opportunities, for the raw essence of things. When others are distracted by noise, she's already traced the source. It's not aggression, it's precision. She moves like someone who knows that being blind in a world full of deception is dangerous, and so she hunts knowledge, insight, and advantage like her survival depends on it. But here's the twist. While she operates as a hunter, she also lives as a protector. The same instincts that let her dissect a room in seconds are the ones she uses to shield the people she quietly cares for. She might not be loud about it, but she notices when someone is being manipulated, used, or mistreated, and she steps in, sometimes directly, other times through subtle moves that no one traces back to her. It's not about being heroic or motherly, it's about a code. She cannot stand seeing people crushed by systems, lies, or predators, and so she acts as a silent barrier. The people she protects often don't even know she's doing it. They just sense that things feel easier around her, or that certain dangers somehow never reach them. That's because she intercepted it before it got close. But this duality, hunter and protector, takes a toll. She is constantly balancing the sharpness required to hunt with the softness required to shield. One side of her can be ruthless, cutting away everything false. The other side aches for the safety of those she lets inside her guarded world. This is what makes Sigma females so difficult to define. In the same breath, she can hunt you down for truth and protect you from harm. She carries the edge of the blade and the warmth of the shield, and switching between the two is not an act. It's her nature. And most people never realize how much she carries because they only see the side that serves them. Number 2. They're both ordinary and mythical. They are both ordinary and mythical at the same time, and that contradiction is what makes Sigma females so difficult to understand. On the surface, they live lives that look painfully normal. They wake up tired, they pay bills, they stress about deadlines, they eat whatever's quick, and sometimes they don't feel like getting out of bed. There is nothing glamorous about those moments, nothing cinematic, nothing that screams special. If anything, they blend into the rhythm of everyday life just like anyone else. People who meet them casually often think, she's grounded, she's just like us. And that's not wrong, because she is. But then, when people spend enough time observing her from the outside, the ordinary starts looking suspiciously extraordinary. She becomes less of a person and more of a story. Her independence doesn't look like stubbornness anymore, it looks like a legend. Her silence doesn't feel like shyness, it feels like mystery. Even her absence in certain situations creates a kind of aura. People begin to mythologize her, projecting qualities onto her that she might not even claim for herself. Without trying, she becomes larger than life, the subject of whispered interpretations and exaggerated reputations. What's fascinating is that she doesn't deliberately cultivate this myth. In fact, she often rolls her eyes at it. While others are secretly painting her as untouchable, she's at home scrolling on her phone, overthinking dinner options. Yet the myth grows stronger precisely because she doesn't feed it. Her restraint creates space for people's imagination to fill the gaps. They think they've seen a goddess, when in truth they've only caught a glimpse of a tired human who didn't bother to explain herself. This dual existence, ordinary in her private reality and mythical in the eyes of others, creates both power and pressure. Power, because her reputation moves faster than she ever could, often clearing obstacles before she even shows up. Pressure, because people expect her to live up to the myth, even when she just wants to be left alone. It's a strange tension she carries. The human who laughs at clumsy memes and the legend who intimidates entire rooms without saying a word. And in that tension lies the essence of the Sigma female, both painfully real and impossibly untouchable. Number 3. They're both independent and secretly exhausted. They're both independent and secretly exhausted, and this is one of the most misunderstood aspects of a Sigma female. On the surface, she radiates self-sufficiency. She handles her responsibilities, navigates challenges alone, and rarely asks for help. People assume she thrives endlessly on solitude, that being independent is effortless for her. But the truth is far more complex. Independence is not a superpower, it's a constant effort, a balancing act that demands emotional energy, mental clarity, and personal discipline. Every decision, every problem, every challenge falls squarely on her shoulders, and carrying it alone is exhausting, even if she never shows it. The paradox is that while she values her autonomy, she is not immune to fatigue. She silently feels the weight of responsibilities most people never notice. She contemplates the long nights of planning, the constant mental calculations, the emotional labor of understanding people while maintaining her own boundaries. All of this is invisible to the casual observer, yet it accumulates. She can appear serene, confident, and unshakable. But underneath there's a tension, a quiet exhaustion born from always being the engine of her own life. Sometimes, in her rare moments of vulnerability, she wishes for someone who could match her pace and strength, someone capable of sharing both the burden and the vision. It's not about dependence in the traditional sense, it's about partnership at a level few can reach. She doesn't seek this often because most people would crumble under the weight she carries. But in those fleeting moments of honesty with herself, she acknowledges the human side of independence. It's draining, it's relentless, and it's lonely. This duality, the public image of tireless self-sufficiency and the private reality of quiet fatigue, defines her existence. People see the Sigma female as unstoppable, almost robotic in her capabilities. But the truth is far more human. She carries the world with a mix of grace and stubbornness, and sometimes even the strongest need the rare relief of someone willing to walk alongside them. In that tension lies the essence of her independence, powerful, necessary, and secretly exhausting. Number 4. They're both ruthless and vulnerable. They're both ruthless and vulnerable, and this duality is what makes Sigma females so captivating and so hard to understand. On the surface, she can seem cold, detached, and almost untouchable. If a relationship, a friendship, or even a career starts to compromise her integrity, she can walk away without hesitation. There's no drama, no pleading, no hesitation, just a decisive, silent severing. People around her often see this as harshness, but it's not cruelty for the sake of cruelty. It's a non-negotiable boundary, a line she refuses to let anyone cross. In that moment, she is the executioner, precise and unwavering. But behind that ruthlessness lies a depth of vulnerability that few ever witness. The very act of cutting ties, while necessary, leaves scars. When she is alone, the consequences of her decisions surface. Memories of what she gave, what she risked, and what she had to abandon replay quietly. The wounds of severed connections linger in silence. She feels the loss, the loneliness, and the ache of opportunities or bonds that could have been, but only in private. This is the healer side, introspective, tender, and profoundly human. It's a part of her she rarely shows because it contradicts the ruthlessness that protects her. Living this way means carrying two lives simultaneously. One life is outward, sharp, and uncompromising, the side that ensures she is never walked over, manipulated, or trapped. The other life is inward, soft, and contemplative, the side that absorbs the weight of her choices and mourns what she has had to let go. The tension between the executioner and the healer defines her existence. It is what allows her to protect her autonomy without becoming callous, and what allows her to remain deeply human despite the armor she wears. This duality is not a weakness, it's a superpower. It gives her clarity to act without hesitation while preserving the emotional intelligence to process her experiences fully. The Sigma female's ruthlessness and vulnerability coexist, creating a depth and complexity that few can navigate, and fewer still can truly understand. It's the secret rhythm of her life. Decisive action paired with reflective healing, strength balanced by profound sensitivity. Number 5. Their friendships have two versions. Their friendships have two versions, and this is where the Sigma female's social life becomes fascinatingly complex. To the casual observer, she might appear almost friendless. People may notice a few acquaintances here and there, but nothing that suggests she invests deeply in anyone. That's because the friendships she truly values don't exist for public validation. They exist in a realm most people never get to see. She doesn't collect friends like badges or social proof. She doesn't host endless gatherings, post group selfies, or advertise who she's close to. What she has is far more intentional, far more powerful, and far more invisible. Beneath the surface, she runs a network of relationships that is highly selective, deeply loyal, and fiercely private. These are the connections that matter, people she trusts implicitly, who understand her moods without explanation, who can navigate her contradictions and respect her boundaries. The bonds are rare because she doesn't tolerate superficiality. She recognizes energy vampires, manipulators, and those who would exploit her for convenience, and she removes them silently. That's why her real circle is invisible to the outside world. It's not small because she's incapable of connection. It's small because she refuses to waste herself on people who aren't worth it. These friendships operate on a different level. They're built on mutual understanding, intellectual depth, and emotional reliability. There's no drama, no need for constant affirmation, no ego games. They exist in private spaces, late-night conversations, shared silences, and unspoken agreements. For anyone outside, her life might seem solitary, but in reality she's connected to a hidden network that gives her strength, perspective, and emotional grounding. This duality allows her to navigate the social world with ease while preserving the intimacy she truly values. She doesn't bend to social pressure, doesn't fake enthusiasm, and doesn't dilute her energy for anyone who doesn't matter. In essence, the Sigma female's two versions of friendship reflect her broader life. One public and functional, the other private, sacred, and deeply sustaining. It's a testament to her intelligence, discernment, and ability to maintain autonomy without sacrificing meaningful connection. Number 6. They live a public story and a private novel. They live a public story and a private novel. And this is where the Sigma female's true complexity becomes undeniable. To the outside world, she seems simple enough. People know her job title, her hobbies, her routines, and maybe a few quirks. That's the public story, the version of her that can be digested quickly, the version that society is comfortable with. It's concise, neat, and understandable, like the summary on the back of a book. Everyone thinks they know her, but they only know the cover, not the pages inside. Beneath that, however, lies her private novel, a sprawling, intricate landscape of thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that she rarely reveals. This is where her real life unfolds. It's a labyrinth of philosophies she has tested on herself, inner rebellions against rules and expectations that have never been shared, and emotional codes that guide her interactions, decisions, and loyalties. These codes are not obvious or performative. They are invisible frameworks that shape every choice she makes. While the public sees someone navigating life with ease or aloofness, her private world is rich, disciplined, and sometimes chaotic, full of internal dialogues and self-reflections that no one else can enter. This dual existence allows her to move through society with a level of freedom few people understand. She can appear predictable and approachable while privately holding depths and complexities that would intimidate most. She rarely explains her inner workings, because doing so would compromise her autonomy and expose vulnerabilities she doesn't owe to anyone. Her private novel is her sanctuary, a space where she experiments, learns, and grows without judgment or interference. The tension between the public story and private novel defines her life. It's why people can interact with her for years and still feel like they've only scratched the surface. The Sigma female's brilliance is not in being understood by everyone. It's in thriving, fully, privately, and deliberately, while presenting just enough of herself to navigate the world effectively. In every glance, conversation, and action, she offers fragments of herself. But the bulk of her existence, the substance that fuels her mind, heart, and ambitions, remains hers alone. Number 7. They use silence as two different languages. They use silence as two different languages, and this is one of the most subtle yet powerful tools a Sigma female possesses. On the surface, silence can seem like a simple lack of speech, but for her, it's layered with intention and purpose. The first form is strategic. She uses it as a weapon, a way to control energy in a room, to command attention without saying a word, or to avoid conversations that waste time or drain her. In meetings, social settings, or arguments, her silence can unsettle, shift dynamics, or force people to reveal more than they intend. It's never empty. It's precise, deliberate, and calculated. People often misread it as shyness, mystery, or disinterest, but behind it is a mind constantly evaluating, observing, and influencing outcomes. The second form of silence is entirely different. This is her private silence, where she removes herself from external pressures, digital noise, and the constant pull of expectations. It's a space where she can breathe, think, and exist without interruption. In these moments, silence isn't a tool or a statement, it's nourishment. She allows herself to feel, reflect, and recharge, free from the judgment or demands of anyone else. Unlike her strategic silence, this is deeply personal and unperformative. It's not meant to be noticed or interpreted, it's simply experienced. The remarkable part is her ability to switch between the two effortlessly. Outsiders rarely realize that the same quiet person in a meeting who seems intimidating or aloof is capable of deep restorative silence in private. The duality of silence allows her to navigate both the demands of the world and the needs of her inner self. It gives her control over external perception while preserving her own peace. This mastery of silence is more than a habit. It's a language that few can read, and even fewer can master themselves. It's how she protects her energy, manages her influence, and sustains her independence. And because people rarely understand the difference, she moves through both worlds unseen, untouchable, and fully in command of her own presence. Number 8. They're simultaneously feared and misunderstood. They're simultaneously feared and misunderstood, and this duality defines much of a Sigma female's social experience. In professional or social settings, people often react to her presence with a mix of awe and discomfort. She doesn't try to impress, dominate, or perform, yet her confidence, intelligence, and self-possession naturally set her apart. To many, that difference is threatening. They label her intimidating, arrogant, or too much, as if her mere existence challenges their expectations or insecurities. It's not that she's seeking to scare anyone, it's that she refuses to dim herself to make others comfortable. At the same time, she carries a softer, more human side that few ever see. She has humor, warmth, curiosity, and empathy that she reserves for spaces where she feels safe and understood. In private, she wonders why people can't see this side of her, why they reduce her to the surface impressions of confidence and independence. She recognizes that the same traits that protect her and grant her authority in one environment can isolate her in another. People are rarely equipped to process both, the sharp edge and the vulnerable core, the intellect and the emotion, the power and the gentleness. This is why she wears two skins. One is the armor that navigates the demands of the external world, protecting her autonomy and asserting her presence. The other is the softer, more intimate layer reserved for moments of trust, reflection, and connection. Each skin is necessary, and neither negates the other. Without the armor, she would be exposed to manipulation and misunderstanding. Without the softer layer, she would lose the depth and humanity that define her true self. Living this way can be exhausting, yet it is also a source of her strength. By maintaining these two personas, she can thrive in multiple spheres simultaneously, commanding respect in the public eye while nurturing her inner life privately. The Sigma female's dual existence is not a contradiction. It's a deliberate, adaptive balance, one that ensures she remains untouchable, authentic, and fully alive in a world that struggles to hold both sides of her at once. Number 9. They practice two truths at once. They practice two truths at once, and this is where the Sigma female's intellectual and emotional sophistication becomes clear. In public, she presents ideas and beliefs in ways that are digestible, safe, and socially acceptable. She shares enough to participate, to influence, and to communicate effectively, but never everything. These fragments are carefully chosen, not out of deception, but out of strategy. She understands that most people cannot process the full scope of her thoughts without resistance, misunderstanding, or conflict. In essence, the public truth protects her, maintains harmony, and allows her to move through society without unnecessary friction. Privately, however, she holds a completely different set of convictions, raw, unfiltered, and often radical. These are the beliefs she refuses to compromise, the principles that guide her decisions and define her character. They may challenge conventional thinking, question authority, or confront deeply ingrained social norms. They are truths she knows could provoke, unsettle, or even alienate those who only see her public persona. Yet she carries them fully, without apology, because they are integral to her authenticity and her understanding of the world. The dual practice of truth allows her to navigate the tension between survival and authenticity. One truth is adaptive. It ensures she can function and influence within the constraints of society. The other is uncompromising. It keeps her grounded, centered, and true to herself. Most people never recognize the depth of this internal balancing act. They see her public side and assume they understand her, not realizing that the private truth is far more expansive, intense, and consequential than anything she openly reveals. This ability to hold two truths simultaneously makes her both effective and enigmatic. It allows her to engage with the world strategically while preserving a private, unyielding core that nobody else can touch. In every conversation, decision, and interaction, the Sigma female navigates these layers seamlessly, always aware of which truth to reveal and which to protect. This duality is not a flaw, it is a sophisticated mastery of life, a quiet brilliance that few can emulate and fewer still can comprehend. Number 10. They're lovers of people, distrusters of crowds. They're lovers of people, distrusters of crowds. And this is one of the most defining contradictions of a Sigma female. She has a remarkable capacity for deep, genuine connection with individuals. When she chooses to invest in someone, she does so fully, listening, supporting, and understanding in ways that most people can't match. Her loyalty is rare because it's earned, not given lightly, and when she gives it, it comes with clarity, honesty, and emotional intelligence that makes the recipient feel truly seen. These one-on-one connections are where she thrives, where her energy flows naturally, and where her complexity is welcomed rather than challenged. But that same depth makes her intolerant of crowds and group dynamics. She instinctively senses the shallow patterns, the hidden agendas, and the herd mentality that most people accept without question. Social conformity, gossip, ego contests, and performative behaviors exhaust her. In groups, she doesn't just withdraw physically, she checks out mentally and emotionally. Her attention drifts, her mind sharpens in observation rather than participation, and she creates distance to protect her energy. The collective behavior of crowds feels draining, chaotic, and even dishonest to her refined perception. This duality means she lives in two social realities at once. In private or small circles, she is warm, attentive, and fiercely present, a companion whose loyalty can change someone's life. In public or large gatherings, she is guarded, detached, and often misunderstood as aloof or arrogant. People rarely understand that this isn't a lack of interest or empathy. It's a survival mechanism, a way to preserve her energy while still engaging meaningfully where it matters most. The Sigma female's love for individuals, paired with her distrust of crowds, allows her to navigate social life on her own terms. She forms bonds that are rare and profound, while avoiding the drain of mass approval or performative social structures. It's a delicate balance, one that keeps her independent, powerful, and deeply human all at once. Number 11. They're both rule breakers and rule makers. They're both rule breakers and rule makers, and this duality is central to understanding a Sigma female. On one hand, she resists externally imposed rules with a quiet but undeniable defiance. She notices the absurdities, hypocrisies, and restrictions that most people accept without question, and she refuses to bend to them. Authority, tradition, or social expectation does not dictate her choices. To the casual observer, she may appear rebellious, unconventional, or even unpredictable, but in reality, her resistance is never random. It's deliberate, rooted in a deep sense of self and an uncompromising refusal to compromise her integrity. On the other hand, she is intensely disciplined in her private life, bound by rules she sets for herself, rules often far stricter than anything society demands. These are not performative codes meant for approval or display. They are invisible frameworks that govern her habits, decisions, and interactions. She holds herself accountable in ways others would find exhausting or unnecessary, measuring herself against standards only she understands. While she rejects external authority, she is meticulous in her self-governance, creating order in her own life even when chaos surrounds her. This combination of outward defiance and inward discipline gives her a unique form of power. She can operate freely in spaces where others feel constrained because she refuses to be limited by rules that don't serve her. At the same time, her self-imposed codes ensure she remains precise, focused, and consistent, a master of her own life. Few people realize that behind her apparent freedom lies a rigorous system of control, one that shapes her decisions, protects her energy, and fuels her ambitions. Being both a rule breaker and a rule maker allows her to navigate the world on her own terms. She challenges norms without losing structure, bends expectations without losing integrity, and lives freely while remaining disciplined. It's a paradox that outsiders often fail to grasp. She is untouchable because she rejects external control, yet fully grounded because she never abandons internal accountability. This balance defines the Sigma female's strength, independence, and remarkable ability to thrive in ways most cannot. Number 12. They're two different characters online and offline. They're two different characters online and offline, and this duality highlights just how carefully a Sigma female manages her presence in the world. Online, if she even bothers to have a presence at all, she tends to keep it minimalistic, cryptic, or subtly playful. She rarely broadcasts her thoughts or feelings in full, and what she does share is selective, measured, and often misleading to anyone trying to understand her. Social media is a tool for her, not a stage. To outsiders, this online persona may seem aloof, mysterious, or even detached, but that's intentional. It is a carefully curated fragment of herself designed to preserve energy, maintain privacy, and avoid unnecessary scrutiny. Offline, however, she is an entirely different force. In person, her intensity is palpable. She carries a rawness that can't be transmitted through screens. Her expressions, gestures, and presence are all magnified in the physical world. She is commanding in her conversations, perceptive in her interactions, and deeply present in ways that make her influence tangible. People who encounter her offline often realize there is far more depth, sharpness, and complexity than anything hinted at online. She doesn't need digital amplification to be seen. Her presence alone suffices. Most people never experience this offline version, and that's precisely how she wants it. The online persona serves as a filter, a way to interact with the world without giving too much of herself away, while the offline persona exists where it matters, among people and situations that warrant her full attention and energy. The contrast between the two versions is striking because it is so deliberate. This duality allows her to navigate both worlds with precision. She controls what people perceive, protects her private self, and maintains an element of unpredictability. It also reinforces her independence as she chooses where and with whom to reveal her true intensity. In essence, the Sigma female's online and offline selves are not contradictory. They are complementary. One preserves privacy and energy, the other commands reality, and together they form the full spectrum of her power, presence, and individuality. The Sigma female is a study in contrasts, a living paradox, and a force that refuses to be simplified. She is independent yet secretly exhausted, ruthless yet profoundly vulnerable, feared in public yet deeply misunderstood in private. She navigates the world with a precision born from self-discipline, while simultaneously holding onto a fiercely personal spirituality that guides her choices. She operates on two planes at once: the public story that society can digest, and the private novel that fuels her growth, her philosophies, and her raw, unfiltered truths. Every interaction, every decision, every silence is layered, intentional, and calibrated to preserve her energy while asserting her presence. Her relationships exist on dual levels as well. To outsiders, she may appear detached, even solitary, but in reality she cultivates rare, deeply loyal bonds with people who earn her trust. She is a lover of individuals and a distruster of crowds, moving fluidly between intimacy and detachment, giving depth to the few and restraint to the many. She can command attention with her very presence, yet retreat into private silence that nourishes her mind, heart, and spirit. Her friendships, like her life itself, operate on multiple levels, visible to some, invisible to most. This duality extends into every facet of her existence. She is both a hunter and a protector, both a rule-breaker and a rule-maker, both ordinary in her routines and mythical in her reputation. She wears multiple skins not out of confusion, but as a deliberate strategy for survival and autonomy. Her online persona may seem minimalistic or cryptic, while her offline presence is raw, commanding, and intensely alive. She navigates both worlds simultaneously, fully aware of the gaps between perception and reality, between what she reveals and what she keeps sacred. The Sigma female's life is not simple, and it is not meant to be. It is layered, paradoxical, and breathtakingly complex. Understanding her requires seeing beyond the surface, recognizing the invisible labor, the hidden truths, and the careful orchestration of her dual existence. She is a master of balance between visibility and privacy, control and surrender, intellect and emotion. She is both ordinary and extraordinary, both grounded and untouchable. If you found this exploration of the Sigma female intriguing, insightful, or even a little mind-bending, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share this video to let others see the hidden depths of a life lived on two planes. Join the conversation, and let's continue uncovering the fascinating complexities of those who walk their own path, unseen and unstoppable.